Good evening, night owls. You're listening to Midnight Frequency, your trusted late night companion, where the world is quieter, the airwaves are ours, and the night feels just a little more alive, with voices cutting through the dark. It's just past 1 a.m., and as always, I'm here, live, taking your calls, keeping you company while the rest of the world sleeps. Tonight's one of those still, eerie nights. No storms, no sirens, just a vast silence outside. Almost like the city itself is holding its breath. But hey, maybe I'm just getting poetic in the late hours. Let's see who's out there. We've got lines open, so call in. What's on your mind? Relationship woes? Alien sightings? Maybe just some good old-fashioned insomnia? You know the drill. Hit me with your best midnight confessions. First up, we've got, hold on, looks like two calls at once. Popular hour. Let's go with Dave from downtown. Dave, you're on Midnight Frequency. What's up? Dave? Huh. Lost him. No worries, let's try the next one. Ellen from Westside. Ellen, you're live. Nothing. All right, technical difficulties, folks. That's what I get for working with 20-year-old equipment. Give me a second. I'll get the lines back up. In the meantime, tell me, have you ever felt like the whole world just stopped for a moment? Because I swear, right now, it feels like we're the only ones left. Okay, looks like the lines are back. Let's try this again. Next up, Mark from Oak Ridge. Mark, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Thank God. All right, Mark, welcome to Midnight Frequency. What's on your mind? Something weird just happened, man. I was sitting in my apartment talking to my roommate, just normal stuff. And then he just stopped. Stopped? What do you mean? He was mid-sentence. M-I-D-S-E-N-T-E-N-C-E. Just froze. Mouth open, eyes wide. I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. He started freaking out, waving his arms, grabbing his throat like he couldn't talk. Like his voice just disappeared. You mean like lost his voice? Number not hoarse. Not whispering. Gone. His mouth moved, but nothing came out. And then he looked at me, like he expected me to do something. I kept asking, "What's wrong? What's happening?" And he just started crying. Man. Mark, is he still there with you? Number. He ran outside. And when I looked out my window, people were standing in the street. Silent. Looking at each other. Nobody saying a word. All right, Mark, stay with me. You're saying, people are outside? Just standing there? Yes. More of them. I don't know how many. They look scared. They're trying to talk, but nothing comes out. They're making these faces. Like they're screaming. But there's no sound. All right, hang on. I'm getting flooded with calls. Let's take another. Emily from Riverview. Emily, you're on. Please tell me you can hear me. I can hear you. What's going on? My husband. He was talking to me. And then he just stopped. I thought he was choking, but he wasn't. His lips were moving, but nothing came out. And then I tried to call my sister, and all I heard was breathing. Just breathing, but no words. And then I ran outside, and the whole neighborhood. Nobody's talking. They're trying, but Emily, breathe. Stay with me. What's happening? What's happening? Emily? Mark? I think I just lost both calls. What the hell is going on? I don't know what's happening. I don't know if this is some kind of mass psychosis or a technical glitch, but hold on. Something's coming in. Emergency alert. A message just flashed across my screen. Citywide communication failure reported. Hospitals, police stations, and 911 dispatch centers are overwhelmed with silent crowds. What the hell does that even mean? Silent crowds? Hold on. I've got news feeds open. Reports are coming in from No, no, this can't be right. It's everywhere. Downtown, people are flooding into the streets, waving their arms, trying to get someone, anyone, to respond. No one is speaking. They're calling for help, but no sound is coming out. The hospitals, doctors are panicking. They can't ask patients what's wrong. They can't even comfort them. Dispatch centers, calls are coming in, but no one is saying anything. It's not just Mark. It's not just Emily. It's the whole damn city. Wait, another message. A station across town just shut down. Their host lost his voice on air. No, I need to hear another voice right now. Someone, please, call me. Tell me you can still speak. Anyone. Got a caller. Picking up now. Hello? You're live. It's not natural. What? Who is this? They're taking it. They're taking our voices. Who? Who's taking them? I saw it. I saw it happen. Slow down. What did you see? My neighbor. He was outside, trying to yell for help. And then his voice just collapsed, like it was pulled right out of him. Pulled out? It didn't just stop. It was stolen. He clutched his throat, his mouth moving. But it was like something reached inside him and ripped his voice away. That doesn't make sense. And then I heard something else. Something whispering. But it wasn't him. It was like his stolen voice was speaking back. What the hell are you talking about? I don't know, but Hello? The line just cut. Number no, I need to stay calm. I need to wait. My hands are shaking. Okay, social media. Checking the feeds. Oh my God. It's not just here. People are posting about it from everywhere. Chicago, Houston, London, Tokyo. Everywhere. Entire cities. Silent, no voices, no explanations. Just videos of people moving their mouths, screaming without sound. This isn't some outage. This isn't some local emergency. This is global, and we don't know what's causing it or how to stop it. If you can still hear me, if you can still speak, you might be one of the last. I don't know how to explain what's happening right now. The phone lines, half of them are dead, and the ones that do get through are filled with silence. Not static, not dropped calls, just silence. People are texting in, flooding my inbox with frantic messages. They can't talk. No one can talk. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. My wife is sobbing, but there's no sound, just her body shaking. How do we stop this? I don't have an answer. Social media is no better. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, every platform is filling with silent videos. People holding up notebooks with frantic scrawls, typing out messages in shaky hands. Can anyone still speak? Please respond. What is happening? But no answers, only more questions. People are improvising, hand signals, flashlights blinking in code. One user says their neighborhood is now using car horns to communicate. One honk for yes, two for no. The weight of it is sinking in. We don't just use our voices for conversation. We cry out when we're hurt. We shout warnings. We call for help. And now the world is mute. Some people are still listening to this broadcast. If you can hear me, if you can still speak, you might be one of the last. The hospitals are overwhelmed. Dispatchers are watching their screens, helpless as silent calls flood in. Doctors are guessing at symptoms. Nurses are scribbling frantic notes as patients try to describe their pain. But how do you explain a heart attack when you can't speak? How do you say you can't breathe? How do you scream for help when your voice is gone? People are dying in waiting rooms because they can't tell anyone what's wrong. Police scanners, officers are reporting entire neighborhoods standing in silence. Some are breaking into stores, taking supplies without threats, without demands. The usual deterrents, shouting commands, orders, none of them work now. Riots are breaking out. Silent riots. Fistfights with no shouts. Buildings set on fire with no cries of alarm. The most terrifying part? No one hears them coming. Firefighters can't yell warnings. Officers can't call for backup. Dispatchers can't relay emergencies. The whole system is falling apart in a wordless, soundless collapse. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to keep broadcasting. I don't know how much longer any of us have. Reports are coming in, streets are filling up, people are moving, but no one is speaking. They're waving their arms, their faces twisted in frustration, panic, rage. It's not just confusion anymore, it's violence. People are lashing out, pushing, swinging at each other. No yelling, no threats, just sudden attacks. I just got a message from someone in Eastwood. I saw two men fighting outside the gas station. One grabbed the other by the collar, slammed him into the ground. No shouting, no screams, just fists. Just the sound of impact. Another one. My neighbor broke into the pharmacy. He wasn't stealing money, just grabbing anything he could find. The owner came at him with a bat. No yelling, no warnings, just silence. People are breaking apart, and there's nothing to stop them. No voices, no authority, no way to de-escalate. If you hear a fight break out near you, you won't hear it coming. No screams, no shouting, just a sudden, violent blur. And worst of all, the silence makes it so much worse. The first casualties are being reported. A man stepped into traffic. Someone tried to warn him, tried to scream, to call out, but nothing came out. The car didn't stop in time. Another one. A woman tried to fight off a looter. She was pleading, her mouth moving, tears running down her face. The man pushed her. She fell. She hit her head. She didn't get back up. Hospitals. Doctors can't diagnose patients. How do you ask where it hurts? How do you call for help when you're coding on the table? A patient died in my ER. We didn't know what was wrong. He just started convulsing, and we couldn't ask. I don't know how to process this. We always assumed that if the world ever fell apart, it would be loud. Sirens, gunfire, people screaming. But this is the quietest apocalypse I've ever heard. It's happening. The fear, the desperation, it's finally boiling over. People aren't just wandering anymore. They're taking, breaking, fighting. I just got a report. Stores are being looted. People smashing windows, rushing inside, grabbing whatever they can. Food, water, medicine. And here's the worst part. There's no shouting, no yelling, no commands. Just bodies moving in silence, their eyes wild, their movements frantic. The only sounds are glass shattering, doors breaking, the dull thud of footsteps against pavement. Another message. Someone just sent me a video. A street filled with people, swinging bats, throwing fists, pushing, pulling, but there's no sound. No screams of pain, no cries for help. And that's what makes it so much worse. Riots used to be loud. A roar of anger, of protest, of chaos. But this is something else. I'm getting reports of houses being broken into, families locking their doors, watching through their windows as silent figures gather outside. A man in Westwood just texted me. They came to my house. My wife was inside, begging them to leave. Her mouth was moving. Her face was twisted in terror, but there was no sound. Just nothing. And then they broke the door down. What do you do when your screams mean nothing? People used to say that if the world ever ended, we'd hear it coming. Gunfire, explosions, sirens. But now it's happening in whispers, or worse, in absolute silence. Hold on. Something just came through. A weak, crackling transmission. It's barely holding. It's a text, short, desperate. It's not just us, it's them. They're still speaking. What? They're still speaking? Who? Who is still speaking? Another message. Same person. They took her. She could still talk, and they took her. The ones in white. I saw them. But they were whispering. They were still whispering. My hands are shaking. Someone else is still speaking. Someone else, but not us. The feed cut off. I tried responding. No answer. If you're still out there, if you can still speak, stay hidden. Something is out there, and it's still talking. Something is happening to the survivors. At first, there was confusion, then panic. But now it's turning into something else. People are screaming. Not just one or two, not just a few desperate cries. Hundreds, thousands. But here's the thing. There's no sound. They're standing in the streets, in their homes, in parking lots and alleys, their faces contorted in agony, their mouths wide open, throats straining. But nothing comes out. I just got a text from someone who saw it firsthand. They won't stop. My neighbors. They've been screaming for hours. Their faces are red, their eyes are bulging, but there's nothing. Just nothing. They're in pain, but they won't stop. Doctors are reporting the same thing. Ruptured blood vessels in the throat, torn vocal cords, people passing out from exhaustion. But they keep trying. Why? Why won't they stop? Another message. My brother started doing it. He looked at me, pointed to his throat, and then he just started screaming over and over. His veins popped. He wouldn't stop. I shook him, slapped him, begged him. He wouldn't stop. I don't know what's worse. The ones who gave up and stayed silent, or the ones who are still trying to fight it. Some people, they're trying something else. They've given up on speaking, but they're still making sound. Reports are coming in. People are banging on walls, stomping their feet, clapping their hands together. Anything to prove that noise still exists. My neighbors are hitting pots and pans together over and over like a drumbeat. It doesn't stop. It's like they think if they keep making noise, their voices will come back. Another text. My wife is slamming kitchen cabinets open and shut. Just over and over. She won't stop. I don't think she even realizes she's doing it anymore. It's like a ritual, a desperate obsession. If they can't speak, they'll make any noise they can. But the ones who do this, they don't seem right anymore. My father started tapping his fingers on the table, and then it turned into banging. He just kept doing it. I tried to pull him away, but he just stared at me. He didn't blink. He just kept banging. I think they're losing themselves. I think we all are. People are desperate for answers. At first, everyone thought it was a glitch, a power surge, a mass blackout of vocal cords, some freak occurrence that would fix itself. But it's not fixing itself. And now? Now, the theories are spreading like wildfire. Scientists are trying to explain it. Some are calling it a neurological event, something in the brain shutting off all vocal functions at once. Others think it's a new pathogen, a virus that doesn't attack the lungs, but the words themselves. But there's no pattern, no symptoms, no warning. And then there are the other theories. Some say it's a government weapon gone wrong, a new kind of biological warfare that wasn't supposed to be released yet. A test, a purge. Others, they think it's something else. This is a punishment, someone texted me. A reckoning. We used our words for lies, for hate, for greed. And now they've been taken from us. I've even seen posts about ancient prophecies, scriptures that mention the world being silenced before the end. I don't know what to believe, but I do know this. The silence isn't natural. Something caused this, and I'm afraid we might never find out what. I don't think people realized how much we rely on words, not just for orders, for instructions, for warnings, but for connection. And now, without them, the world is breaking apart. I've been getting messages from people who have been alone since it started. They're trapped in apartments, in basements, in houses where no one is speaking anymore, and they're starting to lose themselves. I feel like I don't exist anymore. One text said, I keep trying to talk to myself just to hear something, but there's nothing, and I don't know who I am without my own voice. Another message, I'm scared, not of the silence, but because I don't even miss speaking anymore. It's like I'm forgetting how to want it. That's what's happening. People aren't just losing their voices, they're losing their identities. And the longer this goes on, the harder it's going to be to remember who we were, or if we were ever here at all. I'm still here. I don't know how many of you can still hear me, but I'm still here. And people are still trying to reach out. The messages haven't stopped. Some are holding on, some are already slipping away. I believe this will pass. It has to. We've survived worse. We've been writing notes back and forth all day. My wife and I were making it work. We won't let this break us. Then, others, I feel like I'm disappearing. I keep trying to talk to my dog. I know she doesn't understand, but I just want something to respond to me. But now she won't even bark. I keep dreaming that I'm screaming. And when I wake up, I swear I can hear the echo. But I know it's not real. And then there's this one. A message that made my stomach turn. I don't remember how to write this. At first, I thought it was a typo, but I read it again. I don't remember how to write this. The words were shaky, as if they were forgetting how to form them. I tried to respond. No answer. I think something worse is happening. Something far worse. It's not just speech. I think we're losing language. More messages are coming in. People aren't just unable to talk. They're forgetting how to read. I was trying to text my friend, and for a second I didn't know what the letters meant. It was like looking at symbols I'd never seen before. I wrote something down, and when I looked at it again, I didn't recognize my own handwriting. It was just marks on a page. I'm seeing it too. Posts online are getting shorter. Words are broken, incomplete, scrambled. Like people are losing the ability to structure them. This isn't just silence. This is erasure. And if it keeps spreading, how long until we forget we were ever here? The government has finally responded. A national emergency broadcast just went out, but it didn't say anything. They're calling it a temporary national crisis. They're urging people to stay indoors, remain calm, and wait for further instruction. They're telling us everything is under control, but they didn't say what caused this. They didn't say why it's happening. They didn't say if it will ever stop. It felt empty, like it was scripted days ago, like they were expecting this. I checked the feeds. People are reacting the same way everywhere. They're stalling. They don't know what to say. They knew this was coming. That's why the higher-ups disappeared before it hit. Why did they keep saying isolated event? We know it's worldwide. I don't know what's worse, the silence before the broadcast or the meaningless noise of a government pretending to be in control. People need answers. And the ones in charge? They're giving us nothing. They're telling us to trust the system. But what if the system is the reason this happened? Something isn't right. And people are starting to realize it. The military is in the streets. Officially, they're saying it's for public safety, that they're restoring order, that they're here to help. But that's not what people are seeing. Soldiers showed up in our neighborhood. No announcements, no orders, just standing there, watching. I saw them detain a group of people near the old train station. But no one was resisting. No one was fighting. They just took them. My brother was outside when they arrived. He tried to run. They caught him. I don't know where they took him. And then there's this. Silent curfews. No one is allowed outside after sundown. But why? What do they think is out there? Or worse, what do they know is out there? People aren't buying the government story. Not anymore. And I think we were never supposed to. People are asking the same question. Did they know? Because something isn't adding up. There are reports, unconfirmed, but too many to ignore. Stories of government officials leaving cities before the silence hit. of high-ranking figures disappearing into secure locations weeks ago. And now, anonymous testimonies are leaking. I just got one. I I don't know if it's real, but it says, I worked in a federal office. 3 days before it happened, we were told to pack up. No explanations. Just relocation orders for essential personnel. They knew. They knew it was coming. Another one. My uncle's in the military. He called my dad the night before it started. He said, get out, take what you can and leave. He never explained why. We haven't heard from him since. And then this. Check the research grants. Check who got funding in the last year. The answer is there. The government is saying this was unexpected. But if that's true, why were some people prepared? They told us to stay calm, to trust them. But what if we were never meant to know the truth? Someone just sent me something. A leaked document. It's classified. Or at least it was. It's real. It has to be. The header reads, Controlled Linguistic Erasure, Phase 1. Phase 1. I don't even know where to start. The document describes a process, a method of removing spoken language on a mass scale. It mentions neurological disruption, signal interference, behavioral shifts. It's not a disease. It's not natural. It was designed. One section, it talks about linguistic destabilization as a prelude to Phase 2. Phase 2. I don't know what it means, but if this was Phase 1, what comes next? And who decided this needed to happen? If this is real, we were never in control. We were just the test subjects. I have a choice to make. I have a document in front of me that could change everything. A classified report that suggests this was planned, that someone somewhere did this on purpose. If I read it, if I say it out loud, then whoever did this, they'll know. They'll know I know. And I don't think they want that. I've seen it before. Truth gets people erased. And now, erasure is more than just metaphorical. Messages are coming in. Some of you are begging me to expose it. Others are telling me to run. They'll hear you. They're already listening. You don't understand what you're playing with. I don't know what to do. If I stay silent, I'm complicit. If I speak, who's left to listen? And then there's this. The last message I got before my inbox glitched. The ones who can still talk. They found them. That was it. No name, no explanation. But I think I know what it means. There are still people who can speak. And instead of helping them, they're taking them. It's true. Not everyone went silent. There are people, a small, scattered few, who can still talk. And instead of studying them, instead of asking why, the military is rounding them up. I've seen the messages, people reporting black vans arriving in the middle of the night, people being taken from their homes. No explanation, no struggle, just gone. My sister could still talk. We thought she was lucky. Then the soldiers came. They didn't knock. They didn't ask. They just took her. A guy near me, he was yelling, trying to get people to listen. They grabbed him. He was screaming the whole way. No one helped him. No one could. I followed them. I shouldn't have, but I did. They weren't taking them to a hospital. They were taking them underground. Why? What makes them different? Why are they being taken? And the bigger question, why are they still speaking? If you can hear me, if you can still talk, hide, because they're coming for you. Something just came through. A message. No name, no number, just text. You have to listen. I can still talk, but they know. They're coming for me. My hands are shaking. Someone out there can still speak. I don't know if this is real, but I have to try. I send a reply. Who's coming for you? Nothing. A full minute passes, and then they took my sister last night. She was whispering in her sleep, and they heard her. They took her before she woke up. Who are they? The military? Someone else? Another message. I thought I was alone, but there are others. I met 2 more like me. They said they weren't spared. Their voices were taken from someone else. Taken? What does that mean? Before I can respond, a final message comes through. I hear footsteps. I have to go. If they find me, I'll be next. And then, nothing. No reply. No read receipt. Just silence. There are people who can still speak. But instead of helping them, someone is hunting them. And I don't think they want them to be found. It doesn't make sense. If some people can still talk, why? Why them? Why only a few? And then I get another message. I thought I was lucky. I thought I was different. But then I met someone like me, and they told me the truth. We weren't spared. Our voices were stolen. What? Another message. I don't know how, but I remember it now. The moment it happened, I was talking to my friend. He was right in front of me. And then his voice slipped away. It was like I took it, like he took it. I don't know what this means. But if voices weren't lost, if they were transferred, then who decided who kept them? And more importantly, can they take them again? Because if that's possible, then no one is safe. I need you to hear me, not just listen. Really hear me, because I think we've been asking the wrong question. It's not just who can still speak, it's why. And worse, who took the voices in the first place? There's a theory spreading, a new one. I don't know where it started, but I've seen it in texts, in message boards, in the desperate scrawls of people trying to understand what's happening. They call them the harvesters, not soldiers, not the government, something else. The ones who can still talk. They aren't survivors. They're thieves. They didn't keep their voices. They took them. And if voices can be taken, who's taking them? Someone sent me a recording, an old one, before everything falls apart. It was a scientist, I think. His voice was shaking, whispering, like he didn't want to be heard. They aren't just vanishing. The voices aren't gone. They're somewhere, being collected, hoarded, and if I'm right, the audio cuts out. That's all there is. Collected. I don't know what that means. But if voices can be taken, stored, fed upon, then we're not just dealing with silence. We're dealing with something that's listening. There's something else. It started with graffiti. Symbols painted in red and black, but not words. Shapes, spirals, circles with no beginning and no end. I thought they were just desperate attempts at communication. Until I got this message. These symbols, they aren't random. They match ancient scripts, old languages, ones that predate civilization. I don't think they're warnings. I think they're instructions. Instructions? For what? Another message. They're appearing near the ones who can still talk, near the ones who had voices taken. I think it's a ritual, a process. The silence wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something. I don't know what to say. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't a freak event. It was designed. And if these symbols are a ritual in progress, then the silence is far from over. I need you to listen carefully. Someone just sent me a file, an old recording. The metadata suggests it was made days before the silence started. It's damaged, corrupted, distorted. But I've cleaned it up as much as I can. This is a scientist. I don't know his name. I don't know where he was when he recorded it. But he knew what was coming. Click. The recording begins. This is static. I don't have much time. I think they know I figured it out. It's not a virus. It's not a biological attack. It's a process, a transference. A deep, broken hum cuts in, almost like breathing. Sound is not just sound. Language is not just words. It's energy. It's currency. And someone, something, has learned how to take it. The harvesters, they don't just steal voices. They collect them. They consume them. A sharp distortion. The voice cracks, as if being pulled apart. I saw the reports. People who could still talk, but they weren't the same. Their words weren't their own anymore. They were speaking with stolen voices. The static grows louder. There's a noise in the background, whispers, faint, overlapping, like 100 voices trying to escape from one mouth. I tried to stop it. I tried to warn them, but it's already begun. Phase 1 was silence. Phase 2. A sharp click. Silence. Then a final shaking breath. If you're hearing this, it's already too late. The file ends. I don't know what to say. This wasn't just some accident. It wasn't a collapse, a freak event. Something took our voices. And now, I think they're coming for the rest of us. That recording, that was his last message. I tried searching for him. I found nothing. No records, no research papers, like he was erased along with our voices. And then I noticed something else. At the very end, under the distortion, buried beneath the static, there was one more whisper. I cleaned up the audio, played it back. It wasn't the scientist. It was someone else, or something else. And it said, if you can hear this, run. I don't know where. I don't know from what. But I think the silence was never the end. It was only the beginning. And whatever comes next, we won't be able to scream. I don't know how much longer I can keep talking. Something is wrong. I can feel it. I keep trying to say words, but they're slipping, like trying to grab smoke with my hands. Like something is pulling them away. I can still think. I can still hear my own voice in my head. But when I try to say it out loud, it's like there's a gap, a hole where the sound should be. I don't know if it's happening to anyone else. I don't know if this is the end for all of us, or if it's just me. I'm getting messages. People are noticing it too. My husband tried to say my name. His mouth moved, but I heard nothing. I was reading a book out loud. I didn't even notice when my voice stopped. It just did. It's like the silence is growing. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not just taking voices anymore. Maybe it's taking language itself. And if that's true, then we're almost gone. I need to finish this before it takes me to. The messages haven't stopped. Some are still clinging to hope. We've started using symbols, old markings. If we lose words, maybe we can make new ones. If you're listening, don't be afraid. We existed before words. We can exist after them. But others are giving in. I can't even remember my own name anymore. I looked at my child, and I knew I loved them, but I couldn't form the thought of what they were to me. This isn't just silence, this is erasure. And then there's this. A message, short, simple, something different. The answer is beneath us. That's all it says. I don't know what it means, but something deep inside me says it matters. If you can still hear me, if you can still understand, find out what's beneath us. Because I don't think I'll be able to say anything else. Not for much longer. Something just came through. I don't know who sent it. The number is hidden, scrambled, but it's long. Pages of text. The first line stops me cold. I know what caused this. I don't know if I believe it, but I have to read it. If this is real, if this is the answer, then maybe we can stop it. I start reading. My hands are shaking. It's not a virus. It's not a collapse. It's a correction. Language is not just a tool. It is an entity, a force, and we pushed it too far. We broke the natural order, twisted meaning beyond its limits, poisoned the well of communication itself. This is not destruction. It is a reset. We thought we controlled language, but it was never ours to control. I don't understand. I read the words again, trying to process them, trying to force them to make sense, but something is happening. It's hard to explain, but I'm struggling to read. Not because of the words, because something is pushing back. I can feel it now, like an unseen weight on my tongue, on my throat. The words are still there, but the meaning is slipping. I try to keep going. I have to keep going. If you're reading this, it means there's still time, but only barely. Phase 2 is the unraveling. You won't just lose your voices. You'll lose your words, your thoughts, your ability to understand what was ever said at all. I can't. The next line. The last thing I see before my vision blurs, before the letters twist and break apart in front of me. And when it's done, it will be as if none of us ever spoke at all. I don't know what's happening. I'm trying to talk. I know what I want to say. I can hear it in my head, clear as day. But the second I open my mouth, it's wrong. I can hear my own voice, but the words aren't right. They come out twisted, broken, like a radio losing signal. No, wait, lost words, meaning slip. I can't, no, I can talk. I was talking. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting how? The messages, they're still coming, but they don't make sense anymore. They're fragments. Letters jumbled together, sentences that don't fit. Help lost. Hearing slip words, stop. It is. Who am I talking to? Number, no. I can fix this. I just have to focus. I just have to say something real. I take a breath. I try. The Sue is ow. No. Number. It's breaking. I don't know if anyone can still hear me. I don't know if I can still hear me, but if you can, hold on to your words. Hold on. I can't talk. I don't know if you can still hear me. The words, they're gone. I'm trying. I know what I want to say. I know the shape of the words, but they won't come. The silence is everywhere now, not just outside, inside. And then I hear it. A whisper. Not from me. Not from the static. Something else. It's faint at first, like a breath just beyond the microphone. Then, closer. I don't recognize the language. I don't think it even is a language. It's broken, shifting, like words trying to exist but failing. But somehow, I understand it. It's saying, we have always been here. You've spoken too much. Now you will listen. I try to scream. I try to make any sound, but I can't. I can feel it, wrapping around my mind like a hand squeezing, pressing. The whispers grow louder, layered, endless, 1,000 voices speaking in unison, yet never forming a real word. They're not taking my voice anymore, they're taking my thoughts. I have to stop this, I have to, but I don't remember how. I don't remember, who was I talking to? The whispering stops. For a moment, there's only silence. Then, a flicker. A brief, jagged burst of static. A voice. No, an echo. Buried beneath the noise. But it's not me. It never was. The static stretches, breaking apart, unraveling. Then nothing. No final message. No last words. No explanation. Just emptiness. The broadcast is over. And no one is left to remember it was ever there.